So the number one tip to keep sales teams motivated is to actually uncover what intrinsically motivates each salesperson. And that's one of the simplest things you can start doing is when you bring on a new hire, or even if they've been with you for a while, sitting them down, doing a deep dive, uncover what intrinsically drives them. And then also on top of that, what are their extrinsic motivators? So for instance, the mistake some leaders make is they say, all right, let me lead you towards quota, let me motivate you towards quota. Very rarely is that going to mean really anything to them. But let's just say, for example, if they have a personal goal income to make, let's call it $250,000, and that $250,000 means they get to send their kids to private school, which is really important. But more importantly, it means that it's an opportunity to give them a better life that they never had before. Now you have something deeper to actually lead them towards. So when you lead them towards what's actually most important for them personally, you can get better performance across the board. So I would say the most common mistakes almost always tie to how discovery calls are actually ran. And that's actually doing a deep dive, uncovering the needs of a prospect. Because a lot of times when you miss things in the discovery process, it starts impacting you on the rest of the process, from how you demo, how you handle objections, to how you negotiate, everything. So the way you solve it is you simply follow a really simple framework. So for example, the framework I teach is called the Powerful Framework. So it's an acronym, so really simple. So if you can imagine, if in your discovery process, your phase, so this could be one call, two calls, or multiple calls, or through the whole process, in this discovery phase, you uncover these 8 things, it'll make your life so much easier. And I also imagine each of these 8 things, there's depth to it. So it's not just, oh, I got a check mark, it's how deep did you go, all right? So for instance, the Powerful Framework is like this. P, pain. Level 10 pain. How much pain are they in? Did you uncover that level of pain that makes them take action fast? O, opportunity costs. What's the opportunity cost or cost of an action they do not take action? W, what are the wants, needs, and desires? So what do they truly intrinsically want, extrinsically want, but also how's it aligned to the actual initiatives and goals of the actual company and all of the execs? All right, really important. E, executive level influence. Understanding how they actually make decisions, their buying process, etc. R, resources. Do they have access to funds or capital? So this is not, it's different than budget, because budget can fool you because they see value in the solution. A true economic buyer can access more funds. So if they see value in the solution, can they access more funds if it costs more? Really important. F. F is fear of failure or doubt that what they're currently doing right now will solve the problem. So meaning, if they were to go a year and not change their situation and keep doing what they're currently doing, do they fear that things will fall apart and there'll be major issues? Really important. U, unequivocal trust. That's trust in you, the salesperson, and the solution, the leadership, the company, etc. Do they trust you? And then L, which is the little things. This is like the specifications that you need to know to even put together a proposal, pricing, etc. These are things that are just they are important to a certain extent, but usually to low-level buyers. All right. So when you can get to level 10 on the whole Powerful Framework for every single buying influence, now that solves a majority of problems that'll happen on the back end that lead to stalls or lost deals. Number one, what is the number one constraint that team is running into? So it's important to understand that, because whatever constraint they're running into, that could be top of the funnel, middle funnel, lower funnel, it could be negotiating, it could be discovery, it could be personality, whatever. Understanding what's the exact constraint of the team. When we understand what the exact constraint of the team is, and it's not about tenure, because I've met reps who've been in sales for 15 years and they're struggle with the basics. It's uncovering what's the exact constraint, and then based on the constraint, can we create a solution that will help them not just solve it in the short term, but solve it in the long term. It's being able to build sustainable long-term habits that's going to be better than just coming in and doing a rah-rah training and then they forget about it. But actually having something sustainable in place where, as they continue to compound, the solution will help make them better over time. So I'm going to avoid saying stuff like, hard work, they're ethical, etc. Those are kind of expected. I find the top 1% of reps have a few different things in place. So number one, they're hyper goal oriented, right? They have their own goals and they know exactly what they're going after. That's beyond just the company goals. Number two, they have the ability to persevere. They know things will get hard. They'll get hit with roadblocks, they know things won't go perfectly, the ability to persevere. Number three, they're creative. So they know that you can't fit every prospect into one singular box. They have to be creative to either prospect, get attention, book meetings, move deals forward to get other people involved. They're not stuck in a linear process. They're creative. Number 4, they have high emotional intelligence, meaning really high social awareness about themselves, but or self-awareness about themselves, but also social awareness about other people and how they impact other people. Number 5, self-starter. These salespeople, you don't need to tell them what to do. They're going to go and start figuring it out, right? They're going to figure it out. They're not going to wait around. So they are self-starters. Number 6, growth-minded. So they realize they're constantly growing, looking to get better. They're always trying to like learn new things, to get, improve in every part of life, not just in sales, but in like everything. Number 7, they're compassionate and genuine. So they're real. They truly care. They know if they do a good job with the prospect, they can really positively impact their business. Number 8, passionate. So it doesn't matter what they sell. They can sell the most boring thing in the world, but it gets them excited. They're excited about it, right? I'm not saying they have to be bouncing on the walls, but they're just passionate about it, right? So I always imagine it's like, if you were to choose your personal favorite thing to do, can you talk about whatever you sell, the same level of passion? But that could be anything. All right. Number 9, curious. So they're genuinely curious. So that usually means they'll ask more questions than discovery. They'll dive in deeper. They are curious about everything, and they're genuine about it. Number 10, this is really important one, but they're really organized. Like they are like you'll reach a certain level where you can only do so much if you're not organized. Like they're very organized with how they run follow-ups, with their details, their notes, etc. And they're always playing 3 or 5 steps ahead by being so organized. Number 11, ownership mentality. So they take 100% ownership for the wins or the losses. So you'll go sideways, they get ghosted, whatever, they own it. Like, my fault, what can I do differently? So when they start thinking that way, they also create better solutions to improve how they actually run their sales process. And then number 12, they're highly coachable. They are highly coachable. So they know they must always constantly adapt and get better over time. And they're open to feedback. If they're getting feedback from someone that's should be getting feedback, so someone who's actually done a good job and has proven results, they're coachable. They're gonna be like, that's a good point. Let me think about this, and let me digest and execute it. Because being coachable is not just taking feedback, it's executing on the feedback as well. And I find when you have these 12 components all added together, that person's gonna be a rock star pretty much like 99.9% of the time. A big mistake was having an ego. I think, as salespeople, sales leaders, I remember early on, I had success going into my corporate career beforehand. Like school was okay, I did fine with that. I got an internship, and I kind of had my first taste into like being ranked and like doing well. And I remember as an intern, I was an intern for the last 2 years in college, and I was at a $15 billion a year company. I won intern of the year 2 years in a row for having the highest sales for insurance sales. And I built this ego in my head, like, oh, cool, like I'm so good. And then I got into like a real B2B sales role, and I graduated, I got a B2B sales role. And I remember having this level of confidence and attitude and ego, thinking like, I work hard, I think I'm smart enough. I crushed as an intern. I was beating all these full-time people out, one of the best reps in the company. Like, I'm gonna crush it once I'm in this B2B role. Now, I also learned pretty quickly is B2B is different than B2C. So I go into the B2B role, and I was the worst rep. I went 7 weeks in a row, closed 0 deals, but everyone else closed deals. And I realized I had a lot to learn. And that was when I realized when you think you know it all, you don't know anything. And that was when I also realized your true education begins after you graduate. And that's when I started to really self-study, become better, and really learn to actually master the game and build from here. And it's even funny now because sometimes when someone says, "Hey, Marcus, you're a sales expert, sales influencer," I'm like, actually, I'm really not. Like, I'm just a guy who's failed so much. And even to this day, I'll still pick up a sales book here and there. I'll still watch other YouTube videos on sales, and just sometimes it's a refresher, but sometimes it's a new way of looking at things. And I always learn. And that's why I think it's important to keep your skills sharp and just always stay coachable, regardless of how long you've been in sales, how successful you are. If you can have that learner's mindset at all times, it will pay you dividends for the rest of your life. So, I don't necessarily have I used to, I used to have songs back in the day, and I thought that was useful, because you listen to like an amp up song. I did that, because I was competitive growing up, and that was really useful, right? But you kind of get in the moment. As I've gotten older, I've learned it's really the habits that have helped me the most, because you develop a rhythm, and there's rhythms to everything in life. So if you can develop the right operating system rhythm, that's really important. So for me, to really set me up for the day, I have a rhythm I follow. I have habits that I follow. And I think it's important to understand before I share what they are. Some people are like, oh, it's kind of crazy, all those things you do. You have to create what's best for you. And the habits I'm going to share, so people can use as a framework, is I build it into what I call the M5. And the M5 are 5 buckets that you fill these consistently as part of your habits. It will help give you energy and help drive the best set of habits for you for life. And this has helped me. So M5. So there's going to be your mind habits. There's going to be your money habits. There's going to be your matcher habits. So like your purpose, right? Your muscle habits, things to do for you physically, and your marriage habits. And marriage is not necessarily like married with a spouse, but your relationships in life. Like imagine everyone around you, the people you're closest with, imagine if you had to marry them. Like, how'd you be different with that? So if you can kind of build those habits into your day, every single day, it can be really powerful. So for example, here's how I incorporate all these things. So like even when I wake up, what's important to me is like first thing I'll do is I'll work out. Like no phones, like or no social media. I'll listen to music or I work out, or listen to a book. But there's like I don't listen to news. I work out. That just like gets the blood flowing. That's really key. Do that. Cool. That feels awesome. 30 minutes. It's usually a hit workout, like 360, 480 reps of a specific muscle group. Boom, in and out, 30 minutes, done. Every single day, get that done. Once that's done, I'll go downstairs to my home office here, and I'll actually do some breath work for a little bit that helps kind of set into place mentally. And then after that, I'll actually listen to, it's a recording of myself. It's a little crazy. It's a recording of myself that I recorded of what my future life is like, assume I hit every single goal. Like I literally visualize. So it's a written narrative that I've narrated to myself. Like I wake up 6 a.m. I feel empowered, high energy, etc. Blah, blah, blah. I go in detail of exactly how I'm experiencing my day in the exact dream format, in dream state. Narrate it out. I listen to it and I visualize it first thing in the morning. So I'm one of those weirdos that do stuff like that. Then I go and I write my goals out. My month goals, and then my annual goals as well. I handwrite it out, and then from there I'm gonna think. I think that's it. Then I start work. That takes me an hour and a half to get into a state. But once I do those things, even if I woke up feeling terrible, I just feel better because it's a habit. I've trained my mind to trigger myself to get into state when I do that. And the rest of the day is pre-planned in advance, so I'm able to just execute and show up and just do what's on my calendar based on what I planned beforehand. But those habits have served me for a long time, and not everyone needs that exact same thing, but I think if everyone had their own version of what's in their M5 and then they could implement it consistently, start small and build it up, you'll have more control in your day and how you feel at the end of the day.